So I know there's lots of switching identity talk out there and becoming your best self and attaching to your highest self and all the things. And I absolutely love that stuff. I'm completely obsessed with it. It's my work. But here's what I want to share with you that I don't think a lot of people are really talking about. When you come from a place of trauma and survival and PTSD and an attachment style that is anxious, disorganized, or insecure, you have quadruple the hurdles to get over and to heal. And these triggers are like fucking landmines. You never know where they're at. They're just bam, trigger, and all of a sudden you're just off on this tangent, and you have done so much fucking work, and you hate that you get triggered, and you can't figure out why it keeps happening, and you don't understand it, and you're just kicking yourself, and you may be Gen X and you're like, why am I still dealing with this? I'm fucking 45, I'm 50, I'm 55, whatever it is, and I'm still dealing with this. Darling, it's because you keep illuminating the signal and the stories. And there's something still in you that you like to look back. There's something in you that still has this melancholy pull towards what happened to you, towards what you used to do. And through all the trauma and all the pain and all the things you've gone through, you keep dragging that along with you. And you're brilliant, and you are highly skilled and highly talented and wise and gorgeous, and you fucking run your business like a badass CEO, and like you've got all the bells and whistles and you're doing all the things, and the ambition is just through the roof. But underneath all of that, there is this underlying nagging thing of, why can't I get to this point where I know the happiness is at, and the joy and the just the glee, and the excitement that I thought I was going to feel, right? You get to this like pinnacle and you're like, okay, that was cool. So what's next, right? Or you may celebrate for like a little bit, but then you don't really let yourself celebrate. It's because there is something in you that's still illuminating an old story. And it all started, settle in now, it all started back when you were 0 to 7. And your subconscious and unconscious were being imprinted, and your attachment style was being wired. And you learned how to survive in whatever environment you were in. And obviously you couldn't decipher what was going on, and you couldn't understand logically or emotionally what was happening. Your instincts were kicking in, going like, okay, I need to hang on to this guardian or that guardian, or be quiet here or pull back there, because I need to survive, right? So your instincts will tell you what to do when you can't think of what to do, right? So 0 to 7, this happens. You're completely unaware of it. This is not a conscious thing, but it ingrains and imprints on your brain and your nervous system. And this is just obviously a very fundamental explanation of this, but I just want you to get it. When it's imprinted in your body and your brain, it is almost impossible to rewire it, because it is unconscious. So what happens is you go through school, and you go through puberty, and you go through, teenage years and adulthood with this 1 or 2 or maybe 5 things that happened to you that imprinted on you. And I'll use myself as an example. I remember very early on, I still have this memory. I don't know why I have this memory, but I do, of my father leaving. And we were 2, me and my brother. I have a twin brother. And he left me and my mom and my brother. He just left us. And I remember my mom being so traumatized and distraught and panicked and freaking out because, he was the breadwinner and he left us with nothing. And we ended up living in his brother's barn, who was my Uncle Bill. And we slept on hay and sleeping bags for months in Oroville, California. And anyways, in my mind, what was imprinted in my mind was, oh, I must not be good enough. I'm unworthy of love. I'm unsafe. And the abandonment issues kicked in, and the disorganized attachment style kicked in, because my mom was also chaotic and trying to keep the family together and trying to take care of us the best way she could. She was a very loving mother, but she had a lot of trauma herself. And I internalized that and took that on as my own. And I became very protective over her and very defensive over her and all the things. But throughout my life, the reverberating signal from the main breakdown, the main distortion, I love to call it, because it is a distortion. It is not inherently true that I'm unworthy or unlovable or unsafe. That's not true. That was implanted on me because my survival instincts told me so. And my nervous system was like, oh shit, this is red alert time. Like, this is, red flag. We got to we have to keep ourselves contained and keep ourselves small and make sure we don't ruffle any feathers because mom's freaking out or whatever was happening, right? So that main signal now is the precursor and is the main through line and thread, the golden thread, through all of the stories that I now concocted based on who I was interacting with. My lens, the lens I was seeing life through was, there's something wrong with me. My daddy left me. I'm not good enough. So I felt awkward. I felt out of place. I was bullied. I mean, horribly bullied. Oh my God, I was horribly bullied all through school. And just terrorized by these kids. Like, they absolutely fucking hated me. And I was getting my ass beat all the time. It was just awful. And I had no idea why they didn't like me so much. So it just imprinted further that I must be inherently flawed. And I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be Debbie Gibson and Madonna and Janet Jackson and Paula Abdul, So I would go into my room and I would practice and I would dress up and I would become this identity, this rock star identity. But I didn't show anybody because I was like, I can't show you because it's not good enough. So the side of me that was actually me came out only in front of my mom and my brother, even though he would make fun of me all the time for it. Mom was always very encouraging of me singing and dancing, but I couldn't show anybody else. And I gained this horrible stage fright, even though I hadn't been in front of people singing before. I just was so terrified by it. And it took me years and years and years and years to get past that, to become the singer that I became. But the through line was, I'm not good enough. So every single place that I looked for that information. It was never like, oh, thank you, you loved the way I sang. It was like, oh, yeah, that was all right. Or, God, I was so off key. Or like, I didn't really like the way that I sang. I just couldn't take the compliment because the lens, the signal was like, beep, beep, beep. Remember, you're not good enough. And it didn't matter what the fuck I did. Right? So I want you to look back in your life, and I want you to, I don't care how old you are, by the way, look back at your life and go, what is still in play? What is still ruling my thought, my unconscious thought, my subconscious thought, and my nervous system? What's still ruling it? And I'm telling you right now, every single time you go out and try to do something new, that is what gets fired. But you can't really see it because there's this timeline and through line of hundreds of thousands of stories that you've told yourself along the way, and experiences that have made those stories true for you, because that is the evidence that you looked for. And even when you didn't think you were looking for the evidence, your brain and your body are always going to take you back to the most comfortable and quote unquote safe set point. Now, the way that you can rewire this is to literally, and I mean 1,000 fucking times a day if you need to, because this is what I still do to this day sometimes, because sometimes I just went through it again. I went through this like a month and a half, 2 month dark night of the soul where I was shedding my skin. You know, I was literally becoming a different person, and I'm speaking to you now as that different person. But I had to watch my thoughts all day long, and it was almost kind of driving me a little crazy. But I needed to do it because the old story was about to take me down. And I mean literally. Like, I was really contemplating, like, maybe I should just end all of this because it was too painful. And I mean, I hate to say that, but that's what I was thinking. And what was too painful was for me to keep living the life that I was living. And it wasn't that it was bad. It just wasn't me. It was the old identity. It was the survival Amanda. And survival Amanda is wonderful. We love her. But she can fuck things up faster than anybody because she gets scared and she doesn't go all the way in. She dips her toe in, and then she has 1,000 projects that she doesn't finish. And then she's, you know, she wants to be this person, but she doesn't really do it. And like, you know, there's a lot of dabbling. And there's a lot of like making it look like it's working. But in the deep dark of the night, she knew it wasn't. And then here I am, right? Amanda Corvelle going like, what the fuck are you doing? But I wasn't in play yet. I wasn't in power yet. So I had to go through this like dark night of the soul where I literally felt like, you know, have you ever wrestled someone? I know it's weird, but have you ever wrestled someone, you finally get them to the ground, you're like, ha, I got you. And you pin their shoulders and they finally surrender. That is how it felt for me. I felt like me, like Amanda Corvelle was being pinned down by the universe and been like, listen, if you don't fucking listen to me, and if you don't change your life, if you don't change the way that you're thinking, and if you don't stop illuminating the old stories, you're never going to fucking make it, and you're always going to struggle, and you're going to be in the land of almost. And the land of almost is a fucking graveyard full of dreams. You don't want that. You want to stumble and fall as much as you fucking possibly can, but get where you're going. Okay? And the faster you go, the more momentum you have, and you will go, right? The slower you go, the more you trip. I remember one time I was coming down a hill and my brother was just charging down the hill. We were like on Runyon Canyon. And I was like, I can't, I'm too scared, it's too steep. And he's like, the faster you go, the easier it is. And I'll never forget that because it was such a good analogy for business and life. The faster you go, the easier it is. And that is true. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to look back just for a moment and see where the fuck you're illuminating the old stories. Because that is what's tripping you up. Every single time you look back, every single time you ponder or procrastinate, you are putting the shoe on the wrong foot. You're basically tying your shoelaces together, you know? Or you're just choosing to climb up a muddy hill. Like, why? Every single time you illuminate something old, you lose momentum. So the way to change your identity, and by the way, your identity is not a set of beliefs. It is a prediction machine. Your identity is based on what has already happened and what you identify with, right? So your identity is a prediction machine, and that your identity is your brain, is your body, who you are, who you think you are based on what has already happened. So if you want to switch your identity, you have to start looking in the future and start envisioning things that haven't happened yet. And if you come from trauma like I have, this is the one thing that has helped me the most, because I have a really hard time visualizing things, especially because in survival mode, you can't really see very far into the future because you're just putting out fires all the time. So that's where your energy goes. So if you want to learn how to really future cast and envision your future, this is what you do. You start writing it down. Don't type it, write it down with a blue pen in your journal. and say, I remember so vividly the moment that check was cashed. I remember so vividly the moment that deposit hit my bank account and I got a notification. I remember so vividly screaming for joy because I could finally pay everything. I had more money than I knew what to do with. Or I remember the moment I got the call for this huge brand deal and I didn't think I was going to get it. I remember the moment so vividly. I was driving down the street and I saw the love of my life standing there. And then I saw him again at another restaurant and we met and we fell in love. Whatever the scenario is, I want you to put yourself in that position, in that space, in that location by saying, I remember when. I remember so vividly when this happened. Because here's the magic behind this, is that your brain will go, oh, you remember? And it starts looking. And remember this, your brain sees things in images. It does not understand language. It understands images. So if you can make the image so vivid and just say, I remember the way he kissed me the first time when he dropped me off, or I remember the first time our hands touched, or I remember the first aligned client I got, that is when I knew that this is exactly how it's supposed to feel. You know, when you get your first aligned client, you're like, oh, that's what it is? Fuck yeah. Or I remember when I charged $30,000 for the year, and I thought I was going to freak out when those words came out of my mouth, but she said, great, here's my card. And you're like, oh, you know, and you could literally tell the story about it to yourself. Those memories will get implanted in your brain, and then your brain and your body start to look for it. And guess what also happens? If you can give yourself the emotion and the feeling of it all happening, and you will if you get really descriptive and excited about it, then there's no way that it won't happen. And I want you to pick one thing, not 10, just one right now. And every single night, I want you to repeat the same story for 30 days and see what happens. And I guarantee you, it'll happen faster than you can imagine. Like serendipities will start happening, opportunities will start coming in. It may not be exactly what you want it to be. Like, by the way, I would not put a dollar amount on what you want because you could get more. Okay, I remember I needed $4,000 really bad one time, and I got 4,001. So don't put a limit on it. I was like, fuck, I should have asked for more. The universe is like, okay, here's $1 more. That's all you get. I was like, damn it. So don't ever do that. Just say, something like, this huge check came in, like massive amounts of money always come in. I'm so excited, those kind of things, right? I remember when this massive check hit my account, I was like, holy shit. Or I remember when I told this client this massive amount of money that I didn't think they'd pay at all, but they were like, here's my credit card, right? So get specific, but keep money open, because you never know. The universe is always listening. And if you call in a certain amount, you might get $1 less or $1 more. So don't do it. Ask for what you want through the feeling and the image of it. Okay. I remember specifically when this happened, whatever you want to say, but always start with, I remember. And then remember, you want to start looking back into your life just for a minute and go, what am I still signaling? Because that is what's playing out in your world. And if you want to stop it, you have to tell a new story, and you have to catch yourself every fucking time. And I mean every time. And you have to become so diligent about it if you actually want to change your life. If you see yourself sinking into the couch and getting melancholy and lonely, get your ass up. Go for a walk. Go turn on YouTube and watch something inspiring. But don't let yourself sink into a moment of despair. And this is not like you have to be high vibe all the time. I don't believe in that. But you have to train your body that you're doing something differently. It's just like going to the gym. If you have a flat, flabby ass, it's because you don't go to the gym. That's all. If you go to the gym, guess what? Bam, your booty grows, okay? And the same thing happens with your life. So the moral of the story is get off whatever kind of ass you have and go make it happen for yourself, okay? I love you guys so much. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a lot of lives coming up in the next couple of months, like on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. So make sure you're following me. It's Amanda Corvelle on all three of those, and YouTube as well. I'm going to be doing lots of long form on there. And if you guys need any help with your personal brand and your identity and you're vibing with me, I would love to talk to you. You can always slide on in to my DMs and let's talk, because I'm all about having relationships, building relationships, not about selling, because you have to be so aligned in order to be my client, and you have to be, or I mean vice versa too, right? We both have to be very aligned with each other, or I don't want it. I've taken on clients before where they were so unaligned and I was like, oh my God, I was running for the hills half the time and like having to pump myself up just to be there. So I refuse to do that anymore. And just like one of my beautiful mentors says, Jessica, it's all about what you tolerate. And I won't tolerate unaligned clients. I won't tolerate people that are just kind of half in, half out. You have to be 100% ready to go, just like I will, because I will always have you. I will always have your back, and I will always make sure that I show up 1,000% for you, but you have to show up 1,000% for yourself too. Okay. Okay, honey. So DM me if you want to jump in. I have like 3 different offers that you can pick from, or maybe I'll pick one for you because that's what I usually do. I can see which one you're aligned with right away, and anyways, we'll talk about it. DM me. Love you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Follow me, please, so we can keep in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Jump in my DMs. Let's talk. Let's build a relationship. I can't wait to serve you. I can't wait to get to know you. And thanks for listening. Bye.